Alright, in our last video, we talked about the normal balances. We talked about how that is how we increase an account. And if the normal balance is a debit or the normal balance is a credit. So if you're still confused about some of that, you might want to go back and look at that video again. I want to go over this worksheet and kind of go through it so that we can see how these things work. It is very important that you know how to do account classification. That was the very first worksheet that I went over with you guys. If you can't do account classification, then you're not going to be able to do debits and credits. Because you have to know how to classify the account in order to know whether it has a normal balance of a debit or a credit. So for our first account on the worksheet, we do have this cash account. And with cash, we have to look at what type of account it is. And it is, in fact, an asset account. Assets are going to increase with that left hand. And so since it is on the left, that is going to be a debit. When we look at accounts payable is a liability account. Liabilities increase on the right hand, therefore they are a credit. Sales is a revenue account. Revenues increase on our right hand, therefore their normal balance is a credit. Rent expense is an expense. Expenses will increase on our left hand, and therefore that means that their normal balance is a debit. Inventory is an asset account. Assets will increase on our left side, and therefore they are a debit. Supply expense is an expense account. Expenses increase on our left hand, therefore that is going to have a normal balance that is a debit balance. Service revenue. Service revenue is a revenue item. If we look at revenues, they will increase on that right side, and they are a credit. Wages payable, that's a liability account. Liabilities do increase on that right side, and so its normal balance would also be a credit. For a capital account, that is in fact what it is. It is the capital account. Capital accounts do increase on the right side, and therefore that will also be a credit as a normal balance. Wage expense is an expense. Expenses increase on the left side as a debit. Prepaid insurance is an asset. Assets will increase on that left hand as well, so it will be a debit. The drawing account is the drawing account. Drawing accounts do increase on our left hand. Remember, that was, if we remember correctly and we look at it, that is that aid. So it will increase on that left side as a debit. Office supplies is an asset. Left side, debit. Fees earned is a revenue account. And remember that on our right hand, we have liabilities, we have the capital, and we have our revenue account. And so that normal balance will be a credit normal balance. Fee expense would be an expense. Expenses increase on that left hand, so that would be a debit balance also. Some of the other accounts that we have to look at, we have land. Land is going to be an asset account. Assets do increase on that left side, so they will have a normal balance that is a debit. Now, unearned revenue, remember that is a liability account. Liabilities increase on that right hand, therefore, it will be, or it will have, a normal balance that is a credit. That is how we increase those. Building is an asset. Assets increase on the left side, therefore, it has a normal balance of a debit. Accounts receivable as well as a patent, those are both asset accounts. And they both will increase on that left side, so they both will have a normal balance that is going to be that debit account side of the account. Unearned fees is also a liability. Liabilities will increase on that right side, so it is going to have a normal balance that is a credit. Insurance expense is an expense, and it will increase on that left side. So it is going to have a normal balance that is a debit. Note, payable is a liability. Liabilities increase on the right side. Therefore, it will have a normal balance that is a credit. The copyright or a trademark is an asset account. Assets increase on the left side as debits. And then you have your equipment account, which is also an asset account. It will increase on the left side as a debit. Make sure you go back over this worksheet, review it, work it. The answer key is on Blackboard as well, so make sure that you are understanding it before you go in. You do have a quiz that you have to take that is 16 questions, and you have to tell if the normal balance is a debit or is that normal balance a credit. So make sure you review that finger trick, make sure you understand what all of these things are, that debit means left, that credit means right, and then a normal balance is how we increase those accounts. Thanks so much.